Welcome. I want you to turn to your neighbor and I want you to say, welcome.
Welcome.
It's good to see all of you out here tonight. At this church, we say no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you're welcome here. So, welcome. So glad to have you. And the cause is so important. If there was ever a time we needed to act up, it's now. I still remember Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail in which he said, "It is not so much our enemies we will remember, but we will remember the silence of our friends. It is important that we not be silent in the face of the things that are happening." I want to thank all of you for coming to our church. By being here, you make this place more holy, and we thank you for that. I also want to thank the Lakota People's Law Project for helping putting this event on and allowing us to co-sponsor with them. And I want to thank you for bringing items of food and toilet tissue and other things for the Fish Project, because by that, people in this community every week come here and they get various items to survive. You represent a wide cross-section of peoples. And I happen to believe that when people from such diverse backgrounds get together, that our ancestors surround us. And one of the questions I believe they have for us is, what will you do? What will you do in the face of this great evil? We used to sing a song for protest and other causes. It's called "This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine." I want you to sing that with me, will you?
Yes.
the light will shine in this darkness and roll it back. But you must believe. You must believe and be determined. I want to thank you all, and I want to thank our speakers, Dan Sheehan and Chase Iron Eyes, for being with us. I can't wait to hear them. I've not heard them, but I'm eager. I've heard great things about both of them. And the next speaker for you will be Sarah, the Executive Director from the Lakota People's Law Project. Sarah, very good. Sarah Nelson, thank you.
Was that song perfect or what? It's the bottom line. I feel like we're in a time now where all of the work, for some of us who are older, for all of the work that we've done with our spiritualness, our consciousness raising, all the workshops we've gone to, everything we've tried to grow in our understanding, this is it now, this is it. We have to use every bit of what we've learned. We have to apply it now. We have to bring light into the world every single day. It depends on all of us doing that. Life on this planet depends on all of us doing that in a very dedicated way. So I'm the Executive Director of the Romero Institute, and we are a nonprofit that's been in existence since 1980. And before Danny and I were the directors of Romero, we were the directors of the Christic Institute, and some of you may remember Christic, when we did a number of national cases, and we were based in Washington, D.C. And some of this history will come out in the video that you're about to see. But what I wanted to say is Romero is dedicated, as Christic was, to exposing, uncovering, and sharing information, telling the truth to the public about systemic injustice and threats to the human family and to the planet. And we are now also in this form of Christic, which is now the Romero Institute. This is Oscar Romero, named after him. He was killed by the death squads in El Salvador when he was protecting the people of El Salvador. And this sort of incarnation of Christic also addresses climate change and climate justice. And we have two projects that are focused on climate. This has been going on now for almost 2 years. And one is exposing the problem, which is very clear to us. It's the fossil fuel industry. They are driving climate, and we are going to go over the cliff if all of us don't turn this around. And the other is to put in the solutions. And so we've been working very hard in our 3-county area to put in renewables and working with our community choice energy program there. And we actually, Romero's work actually doubled the size of it, more than doubled the size of our Monterey Bay Community Power Community Choice Energy Group. So we have more cities, more counties involved in that because we did an enormous amount of grassroots organizing for 7 months, bringing people in and encouraging city councils to say yes and come in. So we're working on the problem and the solution. So I encourage you, before you leave tonight, I encourage you to sign up. If you sign up with Lakota, you sign up with Romero, because we're all, this is all one big family here. And I encourage you to think about, tonight we're going to be focusing on the problem. The problem is expressing itself in a historic and dramatic way in Standing Rock, in North Dakota, where there is this confrontation that occurred and is ongoing between the fossil fuel industry, represented by a very big conglomerate of the industry there, Energy Transfer Partners, and Trump was part of that, and so is Harry, who's now our energy secretary. One of the many nightmares that happens daily now in our country. So anyway, this situation that we're in, where really this administration is a fossil fuel administration, The Energy Transfer Partners did so much deception, so much lying, so much racism, so much violence, so much illegality against water protectors who were prayerfully, peacefully protesting the threatening of the only source of water that they have for the Standing Rock Reservation, for themselves now and for the future of their children. It is a real, it really makes us think of, if we don't stand with Standing Rock, we really have to realize this is the moment where we need to stand with Standing Rock. And next year it'll be another place in the United States, and next year it'll be another place. And if you don't realize that if they will do it to Standing Rock, they will do it to you, you must wake up, because we're in that kind of a historic moment where we have to stand together now to protect the planet and to protect our futures, and we have to link arms and get past our differences and start unifying and being very clear about how our goal is to protect the living systems of this planet and to protect our water and our land and our ability to live here. And we have, as spiritual people, we have a deep understanding that we did not create this planet. We are lucky to live here, but we are stewards. And the indigenous people on this earth have always known that the proper role of a human being is to be a steward. And so tonight, first we're going to start with a video of Dan Sheehan, who you will know, some of you already know who he is, but there'll be more information in the video. And he's going to talk about the uncovering of the investigation, the information that's being uncovered, and what it means to all of us. And then he will follow the video with a presentation. And then Chase Iron Eyes will follow, who is the legal lead counsel for the Lakota People's Law Project in the Dakotas. He's also a person who is facing between 5 and 10 years of prison. So, he's innocent. That's the problem. The 843 water protectors who have been falsely charged are innocent. And yet, their trials are scheduled, one that's all the way in May because we're representing Holyoke, and hers is in May. So this nightmare goes on when they didn't do anything wrong. So tonight you're going to hear from both of these gentlemen, and then we'll come back and talk about what we can all do together.
You are an attorney, a civil rights activist for decades. If you could just give us the highlights of some of your accomplishments.
I'm a graduate of Harvard College and Harvard Law School. Did my master's work and PhD work at the Harvard Divinity School and was the founder of the Harvard Civil Rights Law Review. I was co-counsel for the Native American Rights Committee during the Wounded Knee occupation. I was also counsel for the New York Times in the Pentagon Papers case, and I was chief counsel in the case that initiated the investigation of the Iran-Contra off-the-shelf enterprise. I also did the Karen Silkwood case that stopped the construction of all private nuclear power plants in the country since 1979.
I know that from experience, from being on the ground with you at Standing Rock, there was a great deal of service that you contributed to that movement, and you still are.
Yes, that's right.
Because
it's not over yet.
It's not over. Let's talk about that.
And now a major development in the long-running standoff over the Dakota Access
celebrating
pipeline.
an unexpected victory.
The Standing Rock Sioux tribe has won a major legal victory in federal court, which may have the power to force the shutdown of the $3.8 billion Dakota Access pipeline.
A federal judge in Washington, D.C. ruled that the completion of that pipeline had been illegal because they had not, in fact, covered a whole lot of the issues on the environment that needed to be protected. Also, the company had lied and prepared a completely false report suggesting that there was going to be no disparate impact on a racial minority group because they completely excluded the entire Great Sioux Nation of people from their test. So that what that's done is it's verified the position that was being taken by the water protectors, that this is illegal.
So they were right the whole time.
They've been right the whole time.
5 years ago, this was the focus of Tiger Swan's business, working as a government contractor in places like Iraq and helping train military and law enforcement personnel. But a growing threat to corporate America created a new opportunity. And former Delta Force Lieutenant Colonel James Reese, the company's CEO and co-founder, took advantage of it.
We've moved almost 50% of our business away from federal government work towards the corporate world.
This company, Tiger Swan, came in and began lying to all the state police and to the National Guard in North Dakota, the Sheriff's Department, telling them that these were jihadist terrorists that were involved in attempting to come in and try to blow up the pipeline. So what they did is they justified this huge military operation.
They've been pepper spraying, they've maced, they've tasered, they've thrown percussion bombs and smoke grenades at us.
There were police officers filming this, laughing as human beings were being attacked.
And now the internal documents are starting to come out showing what this plan was on the part of Tiger Swan. Turns out that they're trying to frame this entire thing as a demonstration now of how you deal with people who publicly protest the oil corporations, when all it is peaceful protesters.
Dakota Access pipeline.
Protesting the fact that Donald Trump had intervened and ordered them to allow the pipeline to be built. Turns out that Donald Trump was a partner in Energy Transfer Partners. Also Rick Perry, whom he appointed to be the Secretary of Energy.
Governor Perry has deep ties to the fossil fuel industry, including serving on the corporate boards of both companies behind the Dakota Access pipeline. Both companies are owned by Texas billionaire Kelsey Warren.
Once he takes over January 20th, what are the prospects?
Oh, it's 100%.
100% that
the easement gets granted and the pipeline gets built.
The president-elect has holdings in Warren's company, and Warren donated $103,000 to Trump's campaign.
This is a capture of an entire administration by the petroleum industry. So that's what we've stumbled onto here, is we've discovered that this was a huge mobilization to try to give themselves more business. The fact of the matter is this particular pipeline isn't going to provide one single drop of oil to anybody in the United States. This is all being produced to be sold on the international market simply to increase the profits of the stock owners.
Let me ask you this, Denny. You've seen a lot of major cases regarding civil rights, and you've won a lot of them. And I know that from being out on the streets and on the front lines talking with the people, there's a sense of powerlessness against the system, that the people never win and will never win. What do you have to say to that general mentality?
Oh, I believe we can win. I was at the famous Harvard-Yale football game back in 1968. Harvard was down 24 points at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
I was thinking that as you were talking, like this is our fourth quarter comeback
that's right
here.
No, this is what it is. We're going to be mounting a major counterattack to show that the property belonged to the Lakota people, that the charges are false, and that our people were targeted by a criminal conspiracy. We're asking everybody to contact the Lakota People's Law Office and to sign the letter asking to dismiss all the charges against all the water protectors, all 800 of them. Instead, sue Tiger Swan and the Energy Transfer Partner and the Dakota Access Partners, who in fact hired these guys.
So 2 actions, lakotalaw.org, sign the petition.
That's right. This is a call to save our country, to save our planet, where we're going to have an opportunity to set the record straight as to what really happened out there at the Dakota Access Pipeline.